you're doing a year report until the...
I don't have anything written down, just a few things happening. Most of them are in the last council meeting, but April 2nd and 3rd, I'll be doing my second part for the health and safety certification. And it'll be in Sarnia. Look for that. Some of you might have seen the things we're putting an addition on the fire hall. Well, it is and it isn't. It's a training wall that developed into a little bit more than that, and it's going to be funded through the Fighters Association, so it's not coming out of the budget. It's only $2,000 or $3,000. And that's all I have for now.
Any questions for Aaron? Thank you, Aaron. Do you want to go into your report for a few minutes, Jeff?
I just got to permit list. February 16th, March 15th. Any questions on that?
A question on Mr. Hoffner's property. Is the address correct on where the new dwelling is going to be? Okay, and then that's the demolition permit, and then below the septic and the new sewer attached buildings at 65916.
So 1629 location.
Oh, well, okay. Reading wrong side. I was just reading wrong side.
We've got an update from Joe Lira. Here's to look for a meeting about the first week of April as council. The project is moving forward. So it's, they said we should be seeing something probably in April. So brings me, they're going to provide some dates, but it looks like the first week in April.
Noble Air is the hotel development on Oakland Highway. Any questions for Jeff? Thank you, Jeff.
Not a question, just a comment. Which asked them to tell that at Jim Hortons, so they got it right. Adelaide Metcalfe just involved in them.
Let the road guys do that when they go to the track.
Thank you, Jeff. Eldon, you want to do your report for a few minutes? Oh, you don't have one?
Next meeting, we're working on the other documents discussed last meeting.
Thank you. So you've been on holidays, so I guess you're catching up still.
Still working on the catch-up.
Okay, we'll move into the report from Clerk Administrator regarding the wind turbine. Make some comments on that, Trent?
Yes, we received comments from the township solicitor, information from WPD Canada with respect to decommissioning of their turbines. We received information from NextEra Energy with respect to decommissioning requirements of their turbines. We also received information from Suncor with respect to decommissioning. The decommissioning plan report for Adelaide Metcalfe is not yet finalized. We received some further information from Suncor, and what it is, it's the decommissioning plan report for Kent Breeze Wind Farms, and I understand that that plan will be very similar to the one for Adelaide Metcalfe. There's also information from the province of Ontario regarding decommissioning plan report, the technical bulletin, and wind turbine removal, access, and bonding agreement with the municipality of Great Highlands, and that was provided by Councillor Smith. Now, We're on the website.
What's council's feeling? Discussion?
Discussion on additional withdrawal.
Or is it just on the report in general?
Before we do that, do we need to highlight this or?
Yeah, we might as well. We contacted Grays Highlands today and
Can you speak up, please? Sorry, we can't hear you in the back.
sorry.
Thank
We
you.
contacted Grays Highland this morning and spoke with their staff regarding their information and their fees.
They have issued 12 permits, and those turbines have been built, and they were finalized approximately a year ago. The company that they dealt with for these turbines is called Plateau Winds, and they're from Toronto. I asked if they had opposition to fees and bonds. There was no opposition from the wind company for the permit fees, and no opposition from the company with regards to bonds. There were, excuse me, opposition from for both fees and bonds from their ratepayers, and they felt that the fees were too low. Their old permit fees for the 12 turbines that were issued permits and constructed, the permit fees for those were $7,200, and the reason that it was $7,200 per turbine was because that was their fee before they changed their fees. And as the municipality was in the process of changing their fees, they couldn't charge any more than what their bylaws said. The new permit fees are $35,000 per turbine. That's for each turbine. I spoke with their chief building official. He indicated that he informed their council that those fees cannot be justified, and they know that they will be challenged on those. As far as the bond issue, they're asking for a bond of $100,000 per turbine, and that will be held in trust by the municipality for 20 years. And if, in the process, the turbine company does not decommission and take down the turbines properly, they will use that money to do the work. They seek legal advice for these issues, and they were advised that they will be challenged, but the municipality was willing to take the risk. And the legal department prepared the agreements under council's direction. The bylaw was passed in August of 2011, so their new fees are now in effect.
But to clarify, there's been no building permits applied for or approved under the new fee structure.
That's correct.
Comments?
What township was that again? Could you?
Grey Islands?
We contacted Plimpton, Wyoming as well, and their comments were very much the same. They have a bond in effect, but they fully expect to be challenged by it, by the wind turbine companies, and they expect to lose. And
Is that for the permit or the bond?
not for the bond. And their permit fee is roughly the same as ours as far as the actual permit fee itself. And like I say, they expect to be challenged by the wind turbine company on the bond portion. And they also have not had any applications at this point for any wind turbines as well.
And how much is their bond?
Their bond, do you remember, Curtis?
200.
200, I believe.
That's Plimpton's?
Yes.
And what's the building permit fee?
Between 10 and 12,000.
It's 10,000 for a flat fee for the turbine, and then $100 per meter in height.
discussion, council?
Yeah. Can I
Sorry.
make comments? Can
Go
I make
ahead.
comments? Okay.
We're not going to have too many comments because we have a scheduled 2 minutes.
Okay, public input is possible, right? So I'd like to use that opportunity. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to go back a little bit in the story. When Curtis did an application or he bought this motion about the bond, I advised him that you first need legal advice before you can bring forward a motion that is maybe able to implement. It has no sense to bring something forward and we cannot even implement it. So Curtis received legal advice. I paid for the legal advice. So I want to make sure that the township did not have to pay for this. Then Curtis came forward with legal advice. He added some other information like what is a letter of credit, what is a performance bond, that everybody knows it. And so he explained that in that meeting. So then we get the response from the lawyer. And now I'm going to forward to actually what my lawyer is saying, because I talked to him on Friday night. Today just say like a couple hours ago, I received this on paper, and I added some information that I discussed on Friday night with him. So first of all, if I get a comment from my lawyer, right, on paper, I want to see reference, I want to see legislation. So I want to know exactly where he comes from, and if I want to Google, I want to know where I can find it, right? Because we Google nowadays, a modern resident Googles. So I cannot find anything like that in the comments that he made. It could have been made by somebody else. And this is the same comment that my lawyer made. Another comment that I'd like to make is, I almost got the feeling that the motion that was made by Betty Ann was not forwarded as it is to the lawyer. It almost looked like, okay, we just tell what we want, right? But how can we ditch the proposal? How can we ditch the bond? And I was not the only one who's making comment. There are more people who are sitting here who are making comment, even my lawyer. Make the same comment. I said, I'm glad that I hear that from you. That's the same feeling. And Betty Ann did a really nice proposal, and I don't have it here in front of me. Oh, actually I do. What was carried was resolved that Councillor Smith information with respect to industrial wind turbine bond be forwarded to the township solicitor for comments, and then we get to the voting. But the way it's reported back, I don't think it's exactly gone like that.
Reported back from
The forwarded, that the whole document is basically forwarded, and with it here, okay, you can have two questions. You can have an open question, okay, we have a bond proposal, can we do that? Yes or no? Or you can say, we have here a proposal, but we want to ditch it. How can we do that? That's a different question. And that's the way I was reading the comments basically from the very card, and also that I hear from other people, including my lawyer. I said, I'm glad that I hear that. So I want to address it here, because that's the way I feel it. Then I'd like to go back to the summary from Barry Card. Before I do that, I want to make one more comment. Is you called WPD, you called Suncor, you called Next Era Energy. No sense to call those three companies for information about decommissioning, because it's all regulated in the Green Energy Act. It stated exactly what they have to put in the decommissioning report. It also states about the waste, how they have to do the waste, and there's another part what forms what has to be mentioned in the decommissioning report. So it's part of the Green Energy Act. It's also part of the approval.
And it's
So,
also part of the contract with the company and the landlord, which is what we wanted.
it's yeah, but they
Yes,
cannot get any approval if it's not in the application in the first place. Okay?
And Fran would like to comment on your first little
On the first,
issue.
that's okay. Just go ahead.
I just wanted to add that the information that went to the solicitor, our solicitor, was complete. It had all the information that had been provided by Councillor Smith, and it had even the information that I had received from the other companies. So the whole package.
Okay,
And just to add to that, I believe what I gave you from Chad and Kent was sent along as
Yes,
well.
there was even more information than what we had that way. It did all.
okay, so the whole package on purpose went as well.
Yes.
Okay.
It did.
Okay, good to hear, by the way. Okay, so then I go to the legal comments from Barry. Mr. Barry, probably I should say. Okay, so now I have to summarize because I don't think that everybody saw the comments. Okay, the first comment is the municipality's only residual authority over industrial wind turbines comes under the Building Code Act. The second one is building permit fees imposed by municipality must be based upon the expected cost of enforcing the act. In this case, he does not do any reference, he does not refer to any legislation in this case. There is some parts missing in the two sentences that he reported. Okay? Then the second one is a person who applies for a permit to construct a building or structure which complies with all applicable law is entitled to a permit and cannot be required to apply for a permit to demolish that same structure. That's not true. Because the Ministry of Environment, the director, can only approve an application if it has the whole package including the decommissioning of it. And that's the only, if there is no decommissioning report in it, it cannot be approved. So in this case...
So that's not the building permit, that's the application for the wind turbine.
Yes, but that's the OPA and the Green Energy Act is both. You have a structure. I will come back later on with a former lawyer sentence in it. You need two parts, right? You have the structure, it's going up, and having a short lifespan, and that part is all in the approval for the OPA and the Green Energy Act, but also goes back to the council. I will read later on the sentence from the lawyer exactly. Then the municipality has no authority to require the position of security such as bond to cover potential demolition costs on private property. That's not true either, because they can go, if you go to the Building Code Act and then 7 sub 2 or 7.1c, it refers to the fees, and in those fees, I'm just going to the pages right now. And in those fees, we can require requiring the payment of fees on application for and on the issuance of permits, requiring the payment of fees for maintenance, inspection, and prescribing amount of fees. And then later on, yeah, it's very complicated to say it all, but I will go back when the lawyer sent his sentence. But the fees in the Building Code Act is not described as, for example, cannot consist of bond, right? Fees is just, there's no definition for fees. So fees basically can include a bond or something what another township have done, okay, can include if you don't take it down, then you have to pay. You also can give money back. It's all in the Building Code Act. We can give money back. If they take it down, we can give the money back, right? So we're talking about the bond. Then, the unusual argument in favor of bonding is that eventually, perhaps as soon as 20 years down the road, these wind turbine structures will start to become derelict. That means that can 20 years, but can only be 4 years and 5 years. And everybody who was at the MPP meeting and hear me talking, it could come change in the government, heavy tax credits go off, or for example, the FIT program, change in FIT program. That all can cause us that the wind industry will not fly like that, like the way it goes going. When these structures, not a comment that he made, very hard, when these structures are no longer productive, they become a potential source of liability for the landowner. A prudent landowner would bear the possibility in mind and make appropriate contractual arrangements to guard against it. That could include requiring bonds. That's true. However, it's not done, and if it's done or not done, in this case, it's not done by Sunco and it's not done by NextEra Energy. We as a township, as a community, do have an adverse impact if that if the turbines will not be decommissioned, because people will not come to our township, right? We have those rusty ornaments standing there, and nobody wants to live in Adelaide Township anymore. All the commercial buildings will become vacant because we cannot hire any people because they're not coming to our township, right? So yes, it's a landowner's the responsibility, but also our township, our own community. And then the nuisance regulation approach to controlling wind turbine has not yet been tested. However, the province has made it clear that it will not allow municipalities to stand in the way of wind turbines for other than the very limited reasons set out in the regulation that governs these. I clearly want to say that if we have a bond performance, if we require that, it does not stand any wind farms in the way to develop a wind farm. They still can do it. It's only an obligation for them to pay us in case they don't take it down. So, and then I go to the comments from the lawyer. I just have to read it because I just received that. Okay. When reviewing the plan, so I quote, when reviewing the Planning Act, it is evident that the provincial government did not want local municipalities or counties exercising authorities over renewable energy undertakings, and specified that official plans, development permits, and in some cases residential demolition permits did not apply of the Planning Act. And we know the authority is almost taken away from us. However, not completely. It appears, however, so I'm quote again, it appears, however, that portions of the Building Code Act were not as restricted by the provincial government, and that municipalities still have the ability to set fees for permit. Pursuant to Section 7.2 of the Building Code, and I was referring already to it, the total amount of the fees authorized under Clause 1C must not exceed the anticipated reasonable cost of the principal authority to administer and enforce this act in this area of jurisdiction. That also means he gets approval for building that structure, and at the same time they get approval to take it down within the 20 years, right? 20 years or earlier. In that same context, we have that option to exercise the fees for that same. So we can have a fee for the building permit, and we can have a fee for taking it down. In the case not done, we exercise our right for the bond. Although the municipality cannot compel an applicant to apply for a demolition permit at the time of applying for a building permit, the municipality should ensure a fee that is charged at the same time of issuing a permit to ensure that the structure is properly maintained. In the case of wind turbines, as part of their application to the OPA, they need to set out decommissioning report, as I mentioned before, which indicates that the wind turbines have a shelf life, and they have considered their obligations. As such, it is reasonable to conclude that, unlike a house, the wind turbines will be decommissioned versus demolished, and a fee at the issuance of the building permit should take into account decommissioning costs. So we can require it. We really can require it. A couple concerns for the municipality. So my lawyer goes again. Although there is a decommissioning report, there is no financial obligation, and as such the wind company corporation may not have the money to decommission the turbines, as I stated in the NPP meeting as well. This is not unrealistic given that their major asset is a 20-year-old turbine that needs to be moved and a contract with the OPA that may have expired. Second comment that he likes to address to the municipality: relying on the agreement between the landowner and the wind company may prevent the municipality from being liable to pay. However, if the landowner or wind company do not remove the turbine, the municipality will have enforced removal at their cost and hope to recover from the landowner or wind company, or the municipality does not enforce removal and will have unused wind turbines in the municipality, which may detract future investments in the municipality. End of quote from my lawyer. So, council members, I really like that you take this as a challenge. And I'm almost positive, I'm positive. We can win it, and I know for sure that Suncor, next era, will not challenge us. Because we will not stand in the way to build turbines, as I addressed before. We can do this, and I'm here, and I paid my lawyer again to get this advice. And I think we have all the right to protect ourselves, our community, to make the right choices. Thank you. And I got a copy for you too.
Thank you, Rose.
You guys have to share, sorry.
That's
It's okay.
Rose, could I get the name of your solicitor?
White Coat LLP.
What is it?
Sorry?
White?
White Coat LLP. If you need more advice, just ask, okay? I will pay the bill again.